Hey there, welcome to Monday Motivation with Takia the teacher. So today's Monday Motivation, I am actually recording on Saturday afternoon. It's beautiful outside. If you can pay attention to the background, I'm in my outdoor office, as I like to call it, i.e. my patio. But today's motivation actually comes from my initial plan for my Saturday. So I got up this morning, looked at it, and was like, oh, it's a pretty chill day. I don't have too much to do. I might as well get a couple things done. I have a book that I'm editing for a client. I said I'll do that. There's some things that I wanted to do in regards to my own landing pages, processes, all of that stuff. So I said, cool, it'll be a great day to get that done. The weather's not too bad. I can have my sons outside. They can run. They just went out for a little bit on a ride. So now I have mommy free time to do all the things that I want to do in the block of time that I have to do it in. But the motivation for today comes from a little piece of what happened earlier today. So this morning I was up and got an idea for one of my redefining thoughts videos. And so I was going to do the video and realized that it was still early, hadn't quite committed to really doing my hair or any of that stuff yet. So I said, oh, I can just restart my podcast. Remembering, but not at the same time, that I stopped the podcast because that was a fee that I didn't necessarily have to have because I have a whole YouTube channel. I don't necessarily need to have both. Useful in some regards, but not a need at the same time. So in the process of that, I went through recording, got all the way to the end, and then had to stop because my son came in asking for breakfast. But for a very brief moment, not even a brief moment, I'd say for about an hour this morning, I sat down and decided that I was going to find a free podcast hosting app, software, website, whatever it was I came across, and restart the podcast, all because realistically, I didn't feel like being on camera. Now, had I done that, it would have worked great for today. But in weeks to come, when I went back to getting back on my regular schedule, having my moments where I'm fine recording and doing everything else, now what am I going to do with it? It's going to be sitting there again with one or two episodes on it and have gone defunct for nothing. When I could have just stuck to my original plan and process and got back on my game and got back on top of everything and said, okay, you know what? No, this was the plan that I made and this was the plan that I'm going to stick to. And so my motivating piece to you is stick to your plan. More times than not, a lot of the things that we face that end up being a failure is because we decided at some point in time to veer away from what our initial process was. And sometimes it's necessary. So I get that there are things that come up that you maybe don't anticipate seeing happen, or different financial turns, things come into effect, and you have to make some on the spot decisions and choices based on those types of things. Health could be involved. Any number of things could cause you to have to make a complete stop and immediate change to what you're doing. But sometimes the changes that we decide to make are simply because we don't want to do something else at that particular moment. And so we make the decision to make a change that now impacts everything else. So just like with me deciding, oh, I'm not going to go on video, I'm going to just do a podcast. Now I'm back at the square where either A, I'm going to abandon the YouTube channel all over again, or B, I'm going to abandon the podcast all over again. Because again, the reality, I don't need both at this particular point in time anyway. And so when you make those sorts of choices and you make those split-second decisions to do away with something for something else, you have to be able to see the long-term process of it. So in the long term, are you going to keep thing A or thing B? Is your intent to really grow thing A or thing B? Is thing B a temporary fix because you just really don't want to be bothered with A? And so in the process of considering these things, you just keep them in mind, But in the back of your mind, always go back to where you first started. Stick to your plan. If you have it written out, it's okay to review it. It's okay to make slight adjustments, but don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Just because you have idea B doesn't mean that you need to stop idea A and go strictly on to idea B. Sometimes you need to give A some more time to work. And so, as you can see, I gave up on B. I let that alone, and here I am back on video. And so again, my motivating advice to you, stick to the plan. This has been Monday Motivation with Takia the Teacher. See you soon.